Welcome to today's conversation. Does your container have soul? This is Darla, and I just got off a podcast interview on another podcast, which I'll be excited to share with you when it comes out. And it brought up a lot of really fun questions. The host is a woman named Samantha Riley. I'm going to have her on here soon. And she's a business whiz. And so she was putting all the pieces together. She's hosted her own retreat before. And so she knows, quite a bit about the options and what it is to create and fill and host a retreat. And in the process of answering her questions, I found myself talking about something that we do in the Retreats That Shift the Field program. We talk about the soul of your retreat. And in a couple of the questions she asked, the answer was, you got to know the soul of your retreat. So that's what this episode is about. It'll be short and sweet, but I want to speak to the idea that your container has a soul. And what do I mean by that? There is a depth and an energetic texture to the retreat that you are meant to create. And when you really tune into that and you trust it and you build based on that inner knowing of what that dynamic is, what that energy flavor is for your retreat, all of your decisions become easier in terms of what type of venue and what experiences do you have and the food that you create. And within my Retreats That Shift the Field program, I also teach that the anchor experiences that you put into a retreat, and there's really clear intentionality behind each of them, but each of them will have a unique flavor and nuance based on a few things related to the soul of your retreat. So let's talk about that for a moment. So first thing is, within the business model that I teach, or the structure that supports the business model, I teach something called the anatomy of a transformation. And the anatomy of a transformation has 3 stages: commit, shift the field, and integrate. And by the way, I'm playing around with calling the middle stage shift the field. In my book, it's called the sourced experience. So I'm trying that on right now. But commit, shift the field, and integrate. And so your retreat is the shift the field piece of a transformation. It's the place where your clients can come and they know they can count on, if things are feeling sticky, all that's going on is that they have an energy pattern that's out of alignment with the desire that they're now working toward, right? And as we evolve and we grow, our desires evolve and grow, and therefore our energy must shift, right? It must evolve and grow. And so you want this to be a place where your clients know, if I go on retreat with my coach, that my energy will shift into greater alignment with who I came here to be, with the truth of who I am, so that my life becomes easier, right? Because I'm a vibrational match for the goal that I'm after. So if you are designing this container of support in the form of a retreat, by the way, this can apply to a virtual program if it is transformational in nature. But as you are creating this experience, you're really thinking vibration in, vibration out, right? So you're thinking about the energy pattern that your, what I call star client, right? Your ideal client avatar, as a lot of people say, your star client has certain vibrational patterns that they actually come to you to work on. Now, everybody's unique, and these can show up in all kinds of different ways, but you will begin to notice, if you've worked with clients one-on-one for any period of time, that the types of clients you attract tend to have a certain, set of, let's say, 3 to 5 different patterns or barriers that tend to keep them from the outcomes that you promise. So that represents the vibration in, right? What is going on for your clients that gets them to say, yes, I want something that I don't have. I know there's something in the way and I am ready to go there and look at what's been hidden from my view so I can shift my energy into alignment. Those are the people that you want to have on your retreat. So let's just start there. You don't want to, if you're doing transformational work, you don't want to have people coming who are just there to spectate. You don't want to have people coming who are just there to go on vacation. You want people who are there because there is something that they want that they are brave enough to do the deep work in order to get. They want it more than they want their comfort. Those are the people that you want in the room. And so you have a sense that of what they want, right? Because you have a business that's built on delivering some type of outcome, whether it's intimacy in relationship, whether it is more money, whether it is hosting profitable retreats, whether it is losing weight or becoming really strong. You have an outcome that you want for people, right? And if you don't, you want to have one. Transformation can work for anyone in any situation, any topic you want to choose, so that people also know that the soul of your retreat, one of the things that makes up this feeling of connection that your clients and potential clients will have with that energy of your retreat is that there is an outcome that you're all playing for together. Okay? So that's the vibration out. So the vibration in is what's the heaviness or misperceptions, or what are the lies that your star client believes that are keeping them from their goal? Do they believe they're not valuable? Do they believe that people can't be trusted? Do they believe that the universe is scarce? Like, there are patterns that represent the vibration they're coming in with, and there are expressions that represent the vibration they'll go out with. Now, every single person's, aligned expression on the way out, I call this their sourced energy at the end of retreat, is unique. But you will notice every single time you do a retreat, there will be themes. And I love that, right? Because you could do the same retreat 10 different times. And each one, the soul of that retreat needs to be birthed. And the soul of that retreat, even if it's the exact same curriculum, is going to be slightly different. It's going to be different based on you, because you're different. And therefore, the transformation you're interested in is different. The conversation that's going to serve you and the room is different. So we want to do this process of tuning into the soul of our retreat every time, even if it's the same retreat. And when we skip this, it doesn't have the same kind of juice. So I'm going to share some examples, and then we'll see what else might want to come through. So first, I recently wrote about this. I was registered for a retreat recently that was canceled. And it was canceled, and I was informed that I was the only one who was actually coming to this retreat. And there had been 6 or 7 people registered, and every other person canceled leading up to the retreat. And to be honest, I had a moment of thinking, why am I going to this retreat? Like, my energy felt this sense of, I'm not sure what I'm going to get. And it felt a little like not super safe, right? There wasn't enough of the soul anchored in to make me know, I don't know what I'm going to get, because we never really know what we're going to get on retreat. We might have a sense, but we don't know. That's the magic, right? Source is going to show us. But I had this, I didn't even have a sense of how my vibration might shift or if it would shift through going to this retreat. So it made perfect sense to me that a lot of people canceled, because my guess is they also did not have that clear sense. Nobody had walked them through a process, whether that was one-on-one or in a container in a class, to help them know this is the outcome that I want more than I want my comfort, and I am willing to see what's in the way so I can shift it, so I can love it up, transmute it, and give it a new freaking job. That didn't happen. And so I think people were loosely enrolled. And so the moment there was a delayed flight, people canceled. And we don't want that, right? When your container has a soul, and the architecture, the orchestra that your retreat is. I don't know if that is the correct way to say that, but I'm imagining a wave of music, right? Where there's the crescendo and there's the dip and then there's the coming back up. It's like art when you are creating an experience for people. And as the host, you're feeling the sense of this is how they're coming in. This is the depth to which we will go, and this is the vibration in which we'll go out. And by the way, vibration in, vibration out, the vibration out is higher. The energy transmutes, and there's an experience where you facilitate allowing your clients to release the energy that no longer serves so they can create something new. In my program, when we tune into the soul of your retreat, we do it using visualization and energetic experiencing, like experiencing in advance the energetic of this retreat. And we do this at a couple intervals as you are creating, building, and marketing your retreat. You're continuing to tune in and nurture the soul of the retreat. So there's the vision that gets you so excited that you're willing to do the craziest thing of placing a deposit and picking a date, right? And then there's the vision that starts to show up. The soul evolves as people register, and you feel your magic tunes in to their energies as well. And then there's here I am on site, and new stuff will come in as well. But you, as the holder of the container, need to understand that. You need to know everything about it. And this is where your sourced magic comes in. If you've never taken my quiz, you can go to sourcedexperience.com/quiz and take that quiz. But this is where your magic comes in, because you only need to know what you need to know. So for example, let's say your sensation magic. You may say, ooh, this retreat feels like a fire in my belly. That's what the soul of this retreat feels like. And that may be enough for you to start selling it, right? If you are recognition magic, you might be noticing, wow, 7 people in my life, and this can happen, have used the word fire. I don't know, that's what came up. Have been talking about fire recently. And that's how I know that this is what my retreat is about, right? You're recognizing the pattern. And a recognition magician is probably going to see the pattern that their client has. They're going to know that pretty clearly, what they have coming in. They may not know what's going to happen going out, but they'll know pretty clearly the patterns that their clients have in advance of anybody registering for the retreat. If you're a vibration magician, the idea of vibration in, vibration out is natural as breathing to you, so you don't even have to work hard at that. If you're an expansion magician, you know vibration out is going to be expanded, right? It's going to be 10x, whatever idea they came in with. So you'll have a sense of that. But with in absence of a soul, if it's just a bunch of people saying yes to come to a space, the people will find whatever excuse to not show when life gets hard. And life is meant to be challenging leading up to retreat a little bit, because it's going to show you the contrast that you're here to transform. I want to share a story about having a retreat be like a vacation. And I don't love this either. I mean, if that's what you're here for and you really want to go have fun with friends, then by all means do that. That's amazing. But for me, a retreat that's transformational, we don't want it to be like people are coming just because they like you or just because they want to go to that place, because then it becomes like a vacation and people aren't bought in or enrolled in actually doing the deep work that's going to change their life. So, for example, I had a client share about how she tried out a retreat and she got a bunch of people and many were friends, and her intention, it was a yoga retreat. Her intention was for it to be alcohol free and for everybody to be present. And people brought alcohol, like a good friend brought alcohol and kind of rebelled in this experience. Another had created this and people paid, but then didn't show up because it just felt like, oh, it was friends getting together. Another had people just skip sections of the retreat, which then created a big feeling of a lack of safety in the group. Like the people who were there at every session started to feel distrust for the other people who just didn't think it was necessary to come to everything. So we don't want that. We don't want the retreat vacation. We want it to be really clear and clean what the purpose is and what the transformation is. And the third story that came up as I was thinking about when there's not this clarity of intention about the soul of an event. This was a workshop I went to at one point, a sensuality workshop. And it was great for a while. And then it just lingered on. There wasn't actually a time that the retreat or that the day ended. And the host was very generously sharing stories and ideas and tools and things. And then eventually it went so over time, and the host was just telling stories, and it started to feel like now they were taking energy from the group rather than holding the container for the group. It started to feel needy in a way. So that's another example of not being clear, what vibration do I want to leave people in? How do I want to leave space for them to claim, like fiercely claim, who they are now becoming? And then, of course, we want them to integrate that in their life, and we want to be able to support them in that by offering integration support after the retreat as well. So that was a lot. Here's the key points. People will feel the soul of your retreat, and you can be shaping it consciously, or it's going to get created unconsciously. And it might be unconsciously created to be really amazing, and the people come generate it. So this isn't about you having to be perfect or do all the work or anything like that. But often our unconscious soul that we're creating is one of like, this is optional. This isn't that significant. We're just all kind of getting together to do some stuff. And it's not holding the sacredness and the power and potency that a truly well-held, well-designed transformational retreat can have. If you're someone who wants to create a retreat that shifts the field, I have a new accelerator program. It's a one-day happening May 30th. You can go to sourcedexperience.com/accelerator and you can register for that. It's just $497 for the full day. And we start with unlocking the soul of your retreat. The other thing I want to share is I've created a little Facebook group. I don't know why I called it little. There's now a Facebook group for Activating Magic podcasts. So you can go search for that on Facebook and request to join and come, let's have a conversation. So I'm curious what's come up for you as you hear this topic for you and what you're creating, or maybe something you've experienced out in the world. Let's have a conversation about that over in the Facebook group. This is Darla LeDoux, your host for Activating Magic, signing off, and we'll see you in the next episode.